Jackie Robinson was to baseball. These guys are the Jackie Robinson to the, the air world and becoming aviators. So it's really cool.
It is cool. I mean, Bryan, don't you think we've almost been forced to demonize our history, that we shouldn't talk about it? And I think it's
100%.
It's the exact opposite. One, if you make mistakes, you repeat them if you don't talk about them and learn from them. But you also have to celebrate your history. And
ask AI to indulge on stories that have been erased or are eliminated because they don't want it to be shared. You would be shocked to see how many stories of history are not being told because there's a narrative or whatever. We just act like, it never happened. So like, let's just move forward. But that's how I don't feel like we're healing, as humanity, if we just continuously want to hide things or act like it doesn't happen. And then when people unfold it, they're like, whoa, why weren't you guys ever telling us this?
Right.
Creating more distrust. It's hard to get with that stuff.
Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, Bryan. So, Willis, I know since Bryan hasn't been here in a while, I'm not sure if you're aware that he has a new podcast called Divisive Measures, and he talks about a lot of that kind of stuff. Talks about that division that's going on and the manipulation of both sides and everything that's going on. So, I don't know if you wanted to say something about that, Bryan.
Yeah, I mean, I just decided that divisive measures kept ringing in my head after I kept seeing a whole bunch of things. So I started man, you know what? Let me kind of look into this. And I was really shocked when I started going down the rabbit hole of division has been put in from the beginning of mankind, and same thing like democracy. The democracy is a system that is created to create division. And just think about it. Throw anything in the system and people will fight about it. It doesn't matter because you want to call it red versus blue or you want to call it green versus this. People will fight over labels. And I've started to learn that everybody is fixated with the label and not with what is in the content of that bottle or what they're sitting there fighting for. Everybody gets so tribalism against their label, like red, blue, or even their teams. We've been conditioned to like sports, you know what I mean? Dude, you could go to like a Raiders stadium wearing the opposite team and get yourself knocked out, killed, or something by the other fans. It's happened in Oakland.
Yeah.
There's a Buffalo Bills fan went in there, died because he was a Buffalo Bills fan and he was, cheering a little too hard for the team. But I mean, that's how tribalism we're getting. People are sitting there. And do you think that the guys that killed that Buffalo Bill guy, like the Raiders, are in, like their loyalty is to those guys and they'll go bail them out because, oh yeah, they got that Buffalo Bills fan. You know what I mean? That's how ludicrous and crazy I think the world is starting to get with, being tribal. So my
more
whole
focus
show
on the negative.
My whole show is trying to expose the division and trying to show people, hey, don't get so caught up in your labels, because you and someone else might actually have a lot more in common, but because now you're so caught up with a label or something else, you can't even find the commonality with each other.
Right.
We just watched someone get executed for the way they believed and for what they were speaking for, and because people don't like someone else's what they're saying, doesn't like what they believe, and we got to kind of stop that kind of stuff and not normalize that as a proper behavior, because otherwise we're just going right back to the tribal days and we're going to just slang each other because you're wearing the wrong color today, so yeah. I mean, I'm sorry I went on a little bit of a rant, but I mean, division is really near and dear to me now, and especially being a veteran who went to go fight not for the left, not for the right, not for the middle, but for everybody in the United States of America to live freely and to enjoy their freedoms, and for them not to be, judged because they don't believe this or they look like this or they're that way,
Yeah. Rich, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
We're talking about the Tuskegee Airmen. Well, before Bryan went on his little measures there, we were talking about the Tuskegee Airmen, how they are now at the Tuskegee University are training African American pilots again after 80 years of not. Uh, we thought it was pretty cool because it says here that when the program launched last year, it had 19 students, and then now it has nearly 50. And then he hopes in the next 2 years the numbers will double. So I think we were talking about history and and then that's where decisive or being divided come into play, and it was a good little rant there.
Hey,
Basically,
David,
he was
how-
talking about that
Hey,
idea of, sorry, he was talking about that idea of that there's not as much of the positive stories that are out there because the divisive stuff, the negative stuff is what's getting the attention. And so it's nice that Willis is bringing up this positive story, and it'd be wonderful if there was more of that in the media.
Yes. Even after Charlie was taken out, I think the next day or so, a young man down at Delta State unalived himself, and certain people wanted that to be a white on black crime. They wanted it so bad that they put money into people to say it was, when everyone down there said it was not. It was just the young man had enough and he unalived himself.
Yeah,
But that's the part of that
exactly.
division that we have, and everyone wants something bad to happen to get that high news profile, to get the news away from Charlie. Let's make this a racial thing, make it go
And let's
away.
go spin our narratives and start pushing agendas. Yeah, it's crazy that people take these opportunities, and turn them into bad things. It's horrible. Like that person lost their life, and now there's a whole other focus on it.
Yep. Agenda based.
Yep.
Yeah. So here is a story here. It says Maryland loses last A-10s, becomes the only air guard without planes. So this was militarytimes.com. This was written on September 24th. This year, released at 4:59. So it says the long-planned divestment of Maryland's A-10C Thunderbolt II warplanes this week left the state's Air National Guard as the only one in the U.S. without a flying mission. While the state's Army National Guard still retains Chinooks, Lakota, and Black Hawk helicopters for air mission, its Air National Guard no longer has aircraft. A representative of the Maryland National Guard Public Affairs Office confirmed to Military Times. Now, here you are, you're an air guard unit, and you have no air support. I mean, what's the sense in that?
You're asking the wrong question and the wrong people.
Yeah, probably.
It just sounds like another hurry up and wait to me.
Yeah, I think rush was to get them all out of the service by 2026, fiscal year 2026, and replace them with F-35s. But the F-35s aren't coming out fast enough to fill both the active side and all the guard. So it'll be a trickle-down economy for them to get some.
So here I'm reading a little bit more into it. So the A-10s, the Warthogs, are being moved to an air guard base in Michigan, the Michigan Air Guard, while the Air Force required the divestment to take place by September 30th. Guardsmen flying the aircraft are expected to complete handover on Thursday. And then it's saying that hundreds of service members previously assigned to the 104th Fighter Squadron will be moved into cyber operations. So it sounds like they're just kind of going away from air altogether. No telling.
So that sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like a bunch of snap pooey, if you're my honest opinion.
But David, probably a lot of that, that falls upon the governor and the tag. If they didn't fight for it or they want to redefine what their guard is, they generally take that on their own, and that's how that happens.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know about our governor here in Kentucky. I don't know much about this guy. So he seems like a good guy. He seems very military friendly to a certain point. But then again, when it comes to the people that he has appointed at KDVA, Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs, it just seems like that there's some sketchy stuff going on. So, all right, let's see. Rich, you got any good military army training stories?
Training stories? No. We're transitioning from ForceCom to some new acronym here soon. So it'll no longer be Forces Command. It'll be like United States Army America now. So America
must be fit right time.
Used to RAM.
Every time fit reps come out, everybody got to start updating acronyms so they can get a new bullet.
Try to get that new idea. Cool idea. Yeah. Good idea, Ferry. It was going to be called Western Hemisphere, Army of the Western Hemisphere, but changed to USARAM. I just, keep changing letterheads.
It's a new acronym. That's the military way. Always doing new acronyms for something. All right, let's see. So, all right, let me ask you this. All right. So how America, we have submarines everywhere. We got naval ships everywhere. This right here says China and Russia conduct joint sub patrols. Should America worry? Should we worry about China and Russia teaming together and becoming close allies?
China's been freaking hitting us with drones for years, bro. Off of with subs and everything. I mean, they've been getting really close for years. Same with Russia. They play with us all the time. I talked to several people that have been on the ship. They said that, dude, you'll be shocked the amount of activity from China and Russia. So it doesn't really shock me, but I don't think it's new. It's new. And not only that, dude, but China just sent over that balloon over not too long ago. I think 2 of them.
Yeah.
So and not only that, bro, like every probably webcam in everybody's house is made from China and everything else. So, I mean, they're sitting our probably right in our house all the time. But I think we've always got to protect ourselves from they've always wanted a piece of the U.S. Russia's a lot closer to the U.S. than than you could even imagine. So they're always going to be threats, and we do need to be worried because they have a lot of interest here, and we're also selling up a lot of agriculture to the Chinese. Yeah. So I mean, we really got to watch ourselves before we kind of spread ourselves too thin and give ourselves up too much.
And Brian, I think you'll see a movement on the agriculture side. There's a lot of movement on the Hill and here in D.C. to take that land back, that farmland.
They're worried,
and rightfully so. But there's new legislation that's going to prohibit Chinese investment in U.S. farmland, and there's also a lot of individual states. Texas is huge on this, where they're going to actually just take that land back. So I think sometimes it takes bad things for us to finally open our eyes, and I think you're finally starting to see that. Rebuilding our maritime industrial base, we have really, really put that to the side for years. We don't really have effective shipbuilding in the United States, and we've got
like in Virginia, like Passport, Virginia, and all that.
Yeah, I mean, even the Gulf Coast. If you go down the Gulf Coast, there are empty shipyards, and a lot of it goes back to we have demonized that it's okay to have trade skills. Everybody has to go to college and learn about gender studies, and as opposed to learning how to have a trade. And we've got to teach people how to. There's nothing wrong with welding and electrical and plumbing and all that stuff that you need to keep your country strong. And so we've got to get these shipyards back. And I'm glad at least there's a strong movement in rebuilding not only our industrial base, but especially our defense industrial base.
Well, that's good to hear because when I started hearing we started selling land off to China, especially agricultural land, that's alarming and concerning all at the same time. I imagine that I don't know where I always hope you always hope there's good intention to start off, but I think that they start to learn a lot more than there's more of an intention there.
They do. And how it begins is you get Chinese investors who take advantage of families who are in dire straits, who need to sell their land because they're in a situation. And all they know and all that family thinks about is who the highest bidder is. And they don't at the time, they don't think about, long-term consequences. They just are trying to get out of a mortgage or get out of financial situations that they're in. And eventually they don't understand that there's a long-term strategy. And if anybody knows the art of long-term strategy, that's the Chinese. They've been doing this for centuries.
So is the plan to buy them out? Because I mean, gosh dang, taking it back, I imagine that's going to come with some kind of a backlash, or is it going to come at a price tag?
It'll likely come at a price tag. The first step is just to make sure to create legislation where it can't happen again. So you got to do it. You got to do a full stop.
Yeah, right.
You do a full stop moving forward, and then you start to reverse course. And that falls upon a lot of times that falls upon the states, the county clerks through that process. Governor Abbott, he's been huge in trying to make this happen. Also the governors of Nebraska and Kansas are doing the exact same thing.
So I know this is going to make me sound really probably idiotic just because I don't know a lot about this stuff. But is there a way, like I know that for like goods, right? They've been setting up like tariffs and stuff like that. Is there a way to put up a like tariff or tax or fee or something on the land for if they are trying to buy the land to deter them from that?
They don't want them to buy it in total. I don't think it's. I don't even think it's deterring them. It's not even selling it to them. They got to stop that altogether.
Yeah, it's if you just prohibit it, and
foreign governments.
One of the smart things you do, and I don't know if people saw that. The government bought 10% of Intel, and most recently it's not the fact that the government owns 10% of Intel now. But now, because it has a government ownership, it prevents foreign ownership in Intel. So it wasn't about us owning 10%, and the U.S. government buying 10% of Intel, but because it does have that, now foreign government cannot invest in Intel itself. So
the idea is for us to get more involved with a lot of the local stuff, so that the foreign can't come get involved.
Right, and our peers been doing it for years. If you look at defense companies across the globe, Patria is 40% owned by the Finnish government. Nammo, who is a U.S. company, but they're 59% owned by the Norwegian government so it's nothing new. It just prevents other countries from having large investment.
And we're also like at that point in time starting to like sell ourselves out, and part of that too is taking away from the Americans that live on this land. So they sell to a foreign country. They have total say over that little piece of land, and that could adversely hurt, I think, U.S. citizens as well. Yeah. Especially if you're in that local community and you want to go get a job, and for whatever reason they won't hire you, or you know what I mean, and they have a little more dictation. I think allowing foreign countries to come here and buy out stuff is it's a little bit of a conflict of interest, if you ask me.
If you go to the Caribbean, you'll see that most every souvenir shop, and everything is not owned by Caribbean anymore. It's owned by Chinese.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they're just going and buying land wherever they can. They're really putting themselves on all over the place and just buying. Just they're really pushing themselves out, man.
But could that be a strategy though?
It absolutely is.
No, absolutely. It's a long-term strategy.
Dude, webcams in our home, all the things that they've done to us, bro. I mean, you don't think that
David, your
that hasn't been a
podcast.
design? Yeah, that hasn't been a design for forever. I mean, now I think more than ever, it they've been playing ahead of us for a long time. I want to say, I mean, especially in the technological world, we got to be careful because they're very, very advanced.
Yeah, I think they are definitely. It's definitely a long-term strategy, and not saying that America hasn't bought land in other places as well,
Sure.
because
No, absolutely.
we have. I mean, of course, we lease a lot of land in like Okinawa and places, South Korea and stuff like that. So where we have
But we
bases
fix
and
places
stuff.
we
but
blow up
that was
too.
leased with blood, David.
What's that, Don?
I said that land was leased with American blood.
True. I mean, you are correct. So yeah, I mean, it just it just makes you wonder. A couple was it last year, the year before, they were talking about all the land that China owns here in America, and then Texas was like, well, we're going to take all of our land back, and I think there was other states that followed suit with that. So like Don says, it's got to be stopped first, where they can't purchase land, whether it's with a shell company or what, straight up. I think that needs to be nipped in the bud, and then slowly reverse back and get all
they
of our
have
land
to
back.
put the laws in place, bro, because otherwise, every time you switch administrations, they have a whole idea on it, right? And then that's when things go. When one administration has this, and then that next administration gets in, well, we are going to erase all of this, and then we're going to impose this. You know what I mean? So they have to put things more in place so this doesn't continuously happen. So when one administration comes in, they don't have to keep cleaning it up. Like, damn it, man! Like every time we get out, now we got to go back and clean it all up because now all these people are back in here when we moved them all.
So
Wow.
sorry. I was just gonna say I have a question to kind of like throw a little wrench in. So we're talking about not wanting the foreigners to own our land and stuff like that. But yeah, what about all the products? What about all of the big companies and stuff like that? Like, are you guys under the idea that you would like to also see that to be reversed as well? Or I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on that.
I think the
Because
hard
you want to see the land ownership be reversed. Do you want to see the companies in the states ownership be reversed as well and returned back?
I would
I think
love
a lot
for the
of
work
companies
to
that
go
are
back to
owned in the
America.
States. A lot of the companies that are owned here, like say all the South Korean companies that are here now, Hyundai, LG, Hankook tires, Hankook batteries, and such like that. In Tennessee, anyway, they come here with the promise to give jobs. Their Hankook tire plant here is 3 miles long, about a mile wide, employs probably 500 people here. So it gives back to the States. So that product is made in America by a Korean company, but it has their American flag out in front of their company. Now, those companies that are Chinese based or Chinese affiliates that'll be in the States, those are the ones you got to worry about, because those are third party actors. A lot of the people that are selling their lands, like Don said, are people that were down in their luck and just got caught up, just like a lot of the countries in Africa. They got caught up by being poor and let China drive through there and now own half of Africa while we were fighting a war. So that's what happened there. While we were sleeping fighting, they were sleeping and taking over. China has never fought a war outside of China. They don't want to. They want us to fight here. They want us to fight on our soil. They don't want to fight in their soil. They don't want to leave their soil. They have one base outside China, and that's in Djibouti. Why is it in Djibouti? Because it's right next to our base in Djibouti. So they can see everything we're doing and copy everything we're doing. It's not that they want to or to go to war with us. It's just that they have to keep up with the Joneses. The joint exercises we spoke about, with this whole conversation started on, we do the same thing when we go with Korea or with NATO allies. When we do that, that's in their news.
Yeah.
When they do it with China or they do it with Belarus, it's in our news to bring that fear factor into everyone. I was in Korea for 3 times, 4 total years. Whenever people were panicking in the States about stuff in Korea, people were drinking in the streets in Korea. They don't care. We care because it's in our face in the news.
Brian, I wanted to circle back. You were talking about, a change in administration, and I think that's why you see the governors taking action here, so that the states and the local governments aren't affected by the change in administrations, because as you know, in most cases of land ownership, state sovereignty comes first, and I think that's why you see that, and it's not just Texas, but August, it's not that long. August 27th of this year is when Texas announced, not just China, but Iran, North Korea, Russia, they can't buy Texas real estate, and not just farmland, but if you were to look in, and I'll take Miami South Beach, how much Russian property ownership would we see in South Beach, or even just anything, cartels, Russia, they're using Miami and these larger cities to launder money. It's not just farmland. It's the United States is a safe haven to plant your cash, and that's what we have to do. It falls upon the states, and that's where we really have to focus. That you're not. I think I saw a figure that China now owns 380,000 acres of U.S. soil. So that's just something to think about.
No, that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of land, and I think that
well,
we do have to do something about that. I think that even you raise the risk on selling it in any foreign land, because you never know at what point in time could that relationship go sour. It could go sour 50 years from now, and you think it's all good, and then they came over here and just took up all of Midwest. You know what I mean? It's something that I think that we got to really, like I said, be concerned about as U.S. citizens. If there's other foreign countries coming in here and just buying up, real estate and selling it and renting it to us, and now they have complete control of structures, that you're living in. I mean, espionage doesn't stop, and I mean, now that people can make this thing, record and all the stuff. It's a pencil, but now they've come up with so many ways of being able to collect intel. We got to be very careful.
If you control our currency through our bond market, and now you control our food through our farmland, you can strangle us at any time.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, so I think we're going to hit one more topic real quick. And this one's probably going to touch some heartstrings out there. So this one says, here's the title, and this comes from militarytimes.com. Veterans who lack citizenship fear being swept up in deportations. All right, so this was September 24th, 2025 at 6:03 p.m. by Stephen Groves, the Associated Press. All right, so after serving with the Marine Corps in Iraq, do what, Brian?
So they're still pushing this whole thing, I feel like.
Yeah. So this says, after serving with the Marine Corps in Iraq, Julio Torres has the American flag and Marine insignia tattooed on his arm to show his pride in serving a country he calls home. After post-traumatic stress syndrome, drug addiction, and a criminal charge following his deployment, the 44-year-old has found new purpose as a pastor, preaching a message of freedom to those facing similar issues. But these days, his community in East Texas feels more like a jail than the land of the free. Torres was born in Mexico and migrated legally to the United States at the age of 5. Is afraid to venture far from his home as President Donald Trump works to carry out his mass deportation agenda. Torres has a green card residency permit and a record of service in the U.S. military, but he was detained by immigration authorities last year under the Biden administration. He fears that U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement raids under Trump could only mean more trouble. So here's my question. All right. And this is here. I'll read this to you because there's a little bit of numbers here. there are well more than 100,000 military veterans living in the U.S. who do not have citizenship, according to estimates in recent years by the Congressional Research Service. So over 100,000 veterans.
I went to boot camp with 2.
No,
They didn't even speak. They didn't speak any English at all, bro. In my platoon, I had 2 of them. And
so are they not given citizenship if they join the military and they do their time?
Yes, they're supposed to get citizenship.
That's what I thought.
But the problem is, so I think what his concern is that they are sweeping, right? And I think they have the ability to classify you if you look such a way they can sweep on you. Now I think that they can swoop on you, but I feel like that once they realize you're American citizen, you are released back, right? So I think that a lot of people though are getting picked up, and they are U.S. citizens, but some of them are getting sweeped and with these ICE sweeps that they're doing, and I do find it as a concern for a person who did serve his country and earn their right. I mean, I believe if you came here and you went to go serve for your country, you have earned the right to be an American. I mean, there's you have more right than some people that are born freaking here, right? I mean, there's some of these 100,000 that you just named went off to war and put their life onto it, and some of them didn't even make it home, or some of them are maimed, and like he said, that guy has PTSD and other issues.
Right.
So, the thing that I think that happens, right, is you said his name more than once, Donald Trump, right? In that article, they keep wanting to throw out Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't the one doing the sweeps. It is the organization. It's the department. So if the departments are making bad decisions and bad choices, those are the people that we need to go at and saying, hey, man, however you guys are handling this is not the right way, or whatever.
Instead of the fear mongering, trying to slander the name of the president and stuff like that. That's what I see happens a lot. A lot of the fear mongering and oh nope, you've got to be scared no matter what. You have to be scared. Yeah.
Because that's the president at the time, or it's very easy for people to keep name dropping, but you got to go to the root of the problem. Is Donald Trump one sweeping? No, he ordered people to take out the people that are here illegally and all that stuff. Now, if they're doing that wrong, those are the organizations that need to be held accountable and that need to be addressed, because they're the ones creating the problem. There needs to be an order. There is a problem, bro. I mean, there's too many people that have been here illegally. This country was built on legal people that migrated here legally and built up this country, and they did it just like everybody else. They had to pay taxes. They earned their right to be here. Now everybody else is the problem. There's so many people here that have free health care, don't have to go through certain measures that the Americans do, and then we have people, our own flesh and blood, living on the streets. You know what I mean? So it has to be cleaned up, but there's got to be a fine line too, man. We cannot be taking people that were born here. We can't be taking people who serve their country, so we do got to clean that part up if that is what's constantly happening. You know what I mean?
Bryan, one thing you got to be wary of, and I don't know for you guys if you see it, but you have, here in DC and a lot of large cities, you have MS-13, a lot of other games, they are putting their members in the military to actually learn our TTPs so that they can use them on the streets. So you got to think about, was this guy, when he was swept up, what was he doing? Because it is very common to find gang members who join the military at a young age so that they learn TTPs so that they can take them back and create that infrastructure within the gang organization.
Good point, Don. That's absolutely actually a great point, and that's something I guess I didn't even really consider, but that is a great point to consider.
I feel like that would be like super hard to distinguish or to prove, or to weed out. I feel like that'd be extremely difficult.
It is, because they're in there doing everything and still trying to earn the title. But I do see what Don said. There's a lot of gang members that I even served with that I knew were in there, and and you think they're in there to clean themselves up, but they go right back out to the streets, and they just take their training now. And now you got a guy that knows how to, it's marksman trained and stuff like that, and knows how to knock, take someone out. So I mean, there is a point, and then you do get concerned about what if you are training the wrong people that are going back to somewhere and like that. And I mean, so there always poses that question, and then it's also easy for someone to hook back and say, well, I served the country and I did this. But he's not, he's not telling us all the horrible things that they did, right? Like, but I also raped somebody and I also did this, I mean, they're not going to smear that part, but they're going to hang on the part like, well, I served. Like, okay, but dude, do you have a rap sheet from hell or what? Like,
I mean, David, I would always say, one of the first thing you were talking about the article, I wanted to look up the author of the article and which way does he lean, because the power's
right.
And
exactly.
He could take that and skew that. You can make Jeffrey Dahmer seem like a saint that he was just trying to give a place for homeless boys to spend the night.
Like that article definitely, that article name dropped the same name like probably like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, it's horrible.
On the point of
I
citizenship,
mean, Maria, if you're going to have dark humor, this is the podcast to have it on, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I was Army 6 years and I grew up with 6 older brothers. I've had some dark humor, so I got it.
All right, Rich, what do you got, bud? What do you got, Rich?
So to go all the way back to saying that they're automatically given citizenship, they are not. It is not a guaranteed citizenship once you sign up. You serve honorably, you have an expedited path, but you have to follow the process. If you serve in hostilities, it's an even more expedited path, but you still have to follow the process. You have to do work. So that's the problem with a lot of these men and women. They serve and then they forget that process. They don't go through the other steps.
So they still come in through the due process, right? Because everybody's complaining about how people are getting kicked out without the due process. It's like they never came in through the due process. These guys got to go through the due process to become American citizens.
They got to check all the blocks that are involved in becoming a citizen. That's why a lot of them go to those classes while we are deployed, and they get the citizenship while deployed. Those who don't do that, they wind up like this young man in this article who got picked up by the Biden administration, which is said in the article, and now he's afraid of Trump. But he got picked up by the Biden administration. But that's beyond the point there. In the 80s and 90s, the Bloods and Crips were flooding the army with their young guys.
Yeah.
Because they had clean sheets. They can come in the military, learn all the tactics, then go back to the streets and do what they had to do. We just had 3 guys here at Fort Campbell from Chicago. They came in the army. They got to Kentucky and Tennessee. They were able to buy guns, bring them right back to Chicago, and that's how they got busted, shipping them all back to Chicago wars up there. They just used them young guys with the promise of, hey, you're going to be in the gang. All you got to do is learn these tactics, keep your clean sheet, and we can use you for all this time until they get caught, and then they're cut off.
It's so
I think
sad.
we need to start looking at more of those type of situations and see how much it's happening. Just like, the dude in the Middle East, when we were over there in the Middle East and he freaking threw the nade in the tent and blew up everybody in there because of his beliefs. And, I mean, I don't know. I guess we need to maybe look a little bit at some of these at a little bit of a closer measure on about training people that, I mean, you think that they come in through such a hard process that they would weed all that kind of stuff out. But I also know that the numbers nowadays are a lot harder to get. So who knows how much they're allowing in now because they're trying to meet quotas and trying to, get them numbers.
I mean, 2 things, Brian. I mean, one, we've not exceeded our recruiting numbers like we have since this administration in years. There's actually a waiting line for people who want to join.
Oh, damn. So it's improved, because I know one time we were talking that the Navy had to lower their standards because they weren't hitting their numbers.
No, there was a waiting line. I mean, recruitment's been amazing, especially in the last 2 fiscal quarters. When you talk about screening, and one of the things from my time with the IDF and Israel, we placed ministers and chaplains in our units on the front lines. In the IDF, they actually place mental health professionals in each unit, not only to identify mental trauma before it becomes a crisis, but also to recognize these, I guess, symptoms before they get out of hand of somebody who could be a sympathizer or something else. And it's a lesson we could take from the IDF. If anybody, a country that understands traumatic stress, PTSD, but also crisis of adversaries trying to join your ranks, it would certainly be Israel.
Well, it is about that time, ladies.
It's the witching hour, guys. It's time to go turn on the Gilded Age.
Yes, it's the witching hour. So,
hey guys, before we wrap up, I would love to see you all in DC December 10th. But if you can't make it, I hope you'll nominate someone for every category, not just podcasts. Even though you guys are phenomenal at what you do, get all your friends, your audience to nominate you. The best way to win is to get more nominations for yourself. But if you've got a legislator or an ally out there that's doing something amazing, we'd love to see them here in Washington, and we'd love to see you. And I want to say thank you for having me on. Thank you for your time. David, it's always a pleasure. Your support is phenomenal throughout the years, and I am proud to call you a friend and a brother.
Yes, sir. Anytime. So that's AmericanFreedomFund.org. You can go there, and then you can see where it says the 9th Annual Gala. You can buy your tickets there. You can buy individual tickets, or you can buy a table. And then, like Don said, go nominate your favorite veteran podcaster, your favorite small business, your favorite veteran service organization, and have your friends nominate you as well. Like I nominated Rich earlier today, and I've also
nominated yourself.
Don, you got author. You guys do author awards?
We haven't yet, but I'll tell you what, that would be a great addition for next year.
Because we have a lot of veteran authors. Frank Dimmoth in the comment section is one of them, but there's and right there, MisFitNation. We got a lot of authors here. So and then right up with Marie, she's a so geez, that would be a good one, man.
Really good idea. I like that, and no, I will definitely throw that in. I don't get as much say as I used to because now I'm just what they call founder emeritus. I've slowly, I went from executive director to chairman, and now they just want me to talk and raise money. So I'm almost out the pasture, but I guess I still have.
You're a pretty face now.
But yeah, nominate. We'd love to see you guys. David, you said the website perfectly, but just let's make it easy. Joinm3.org. That's the easiest, the quickest way to get there. We'd love to have you. And by the way, David did nominate himself, but only at my advisement. So I said,
he told me I had to because I wasn't going to nominate myself because I feel kind of a certain way about that, about nominating myself. And he's like, you better do it.
Well, if you can't love yourself,
if Willis wins, now it's thrown, bro. No.
Hey, guys, if I don't see you beforehand, have a blessed holidays. Love everything that you guys do. It means the world to us, and I hope to come back on soon.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys.
Hey, Willis.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering if you guys would allow me to send us off like I do with our podcast with a poem. Would you be okay with that?
Sure. So here's what we'll do. We're going to do our closing statements like we normally do. So I'll start with Bryan, then I'll do Rich, then myself, and then we'll let you go, and then we'll end the show on you. How about that?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Let's do Bryan. You're up first, brother.
I just wanted to say thank you for having me on, bro. And thank you to all the brothers and sisters out there for all you've done for our country. And if you would like to, go check out Every Day's a Saturday USMC Veteran Podcast. It's on all the different things. We have a coffee talk segment with Bryan and Marie, and we bring on all the people who want to heal out loud. And we're just trying to bring that. And there's also divisive measures as well. And hope everybody out there is not let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it. See you guys.
Rich, you're up, sir.
Alrighty. I know you talked on this subject before while I was at karate, but I want to, of course, say their names again in memory of the flight crew from 4th Battalion of 160, especially Operations Aviation Regiment. who were lost on September 17, 2025. United States Army Sergeant Jadaline Good, 23, from Mount Vernon, Washington. United States Army Sergeant Donovan Scott, 25, from Tacoma, Washington. United States Army Chief Warrant Officer 3, Andrew Cully, 35, of Sparta, Missouri. And my friend, my brother, for about 10 years now, I've known him, I knew him. Great man, great family. Chief Warrant Officer 3, Andrew Krause, 39, of Sanibel, Florida. Keep them, their families, their friends, all in your thoughts and prayers as they go through this sudden change. If you, that's you out there, if you're feeling that darkness creeping in, don't be afraid to call somebody. That first number on your phone, call that person. Say, hey, bro, hey, sis, I need help. If they don't help you, reach out to me, info@the-MisFitNation. Tell me you want that return call. I will call you back. I'll stay on the phone with you until someone gets to your door and gets you to the light. A day with you tomorrow is better than a day without you. Be humble, stay hungry, keep hustling.
I love it, brother. I love it. And thank you for saying their names again. Definitely our thoughts and prayers are with the families and the friends and loved ones of the ones lost on September 17th. Ladies, gents, listen, you're not alone. Don't let the dark days win. This right here, this says it the best. In the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you are deeply held in the hearts of others. You are not alone. And then be someone's stranger. Listen, we as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. So be somebody's stranger. If you're out and about and you see somebody and looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them, say, hey, how you doing? And if they give you the red flags, I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. I'm living the dream. Ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? But be ready for that conversation. It could be a 5-minute conversation. Could be an 8-hour conversation. You just have to be ready for it. So like we always say on home tip of the spear, stay safe out there. We got your 6.
Hey, so I am really glad that I was able to be here, and I was just my thoughts were that I do recovery advocacy as well as doing the podcasting. So kind of what everyone else was saying. If you guys are having a hard time and you need someone to talk to, please reach out to me. Sliderbabe.com, SLIDERBABE.com. And one of the things that I do in my recovery is I write poetry. And I know that we talked about a bunch of different types of topics, and some of it was hard. And I just wanted to share this poem with you guys that's called The Power of Thoughts. So for those of you who are struggling, just remember that our thoughts are super powerful. So thoughts are more powerful than 1,000-pound weight. They can push and pull inside you, change your focus from love to hate. They can chain you down to the bed where you rest. They can definitely guilt you for not being good, better, best. They can contort the way all faces appear, especially the one looking back from the mirror. They can make you assume the world would be best if you could just stop breathing with the rest. They can make you see that darkness is better and there's no point at all to be a goal setter. Don't fret. The solution from all of this madness is just changing those thoughts from pain to gladness. You see, thoughts are more powerful than 1,000,000-pound weight. They can lift you up higher than this mortal state. They can open your eyes to a paradise of love filled with a light as bright as the sun up above. They can fill your heart with the connection we share with nature, each other, all things, everywhere. They can contort the pain in everyone's faces to become a gratitude of having been to those places. They can remind us of old pains and fears so we can be supportive and help others shed tears. Again, thoughts are more powerful than anything you can imagine. They actually control the heaven or hell you're living in. So I ask you today to go into your mind, alone or with help, go deeply to find the motivation to change your thoughts' point of view from pain, anger, sadness, or anything askew, and turn it towards hope, love, faith, and peace, and you will find in the end an eternal release. Remember, you're not alone, you guys. We're here for you.